Hi, ladies, and welcome back to my Chick Dig Sports. Now, we're chugging right along here in baseball season. However, I feel like there's a lot of terms and a lot of things we need to still talk about. We covered a lot of things last season, and we started talking about Derek Jeter's retirement and stuff this season. But right now, I want to cover some terms and some slogan and some jargon that I know you've heard at ball games. Whether you've been drugged there by a man you like, or drugged there by a friend you like, or somebody you want to spend some time with, all of us have more than likely been to a baseball game this season. So if you're like me, which you probably aren't, and you've watched more baseball games than you care to openly admit on television, you've heard a lot of different ways that things are discussed. For example, you hear the word skipper a lot, just talking about the manager. Probably won't want to call your manager at work the skipper. However, in baseball, it's a term of endearment. We also use the term of endearment for a bat. We can call it a stick. One of my favorite things that you hear is a 1-2-3 inning. Depending on whose inning it is, if you're batting, not such a great inning, but if you're the defense on the field, 1-2-3 inning basically means that everybody who came up got out. As we've talked about before, 3 outs per inning per team. So if you have a 1-2-3 inning, that means that 1-2-3 guys came up and a 1-2-3 sat down. If you have a 4-bagger, or you went yard, or you had a dinger, or multiple long ball, there are so many terms for this, but I think you're getting the idea that it's a home run. Now, there are so many different slings and slang and terms you can use for a home run. Tons of them. However, I'm just going to hit up on those 4. Make something up. Seriously, most announcers have one of their own little things that they call it. So, home run has so many different ways that you can look at it. But when it's your team hitting it and you need it, it is the most beautiful thing in the world. So, long ball, went yard, dinger, 4-bagger, however you want to call it. If it's your team hitting it, it's one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. Now, this one you're going to hear a lot. It's called a 6-4-3. If you hear a 6-4-3 double play, basically we've talked about the numbers that each of the guys has, right? All that says is that the shortstop catches the ball, probably bounced in front of him, he caught it, throws it to the second baseman, and throws it to the first baseman. That means that someone had to be on first for that to happen. That's also a 6-4-3 double play is also called the pitcher's best friend. And let me tell you something, as a fan, when your team is hitting, it is the worst possible thing that can ever happen. However, when your team is on defense and you are really hurting and you're afraid you're going to give up some runs, which means they're going to add on to their score no matter what it is, a 6-4-3 double play is music to your ears, also known as the pitcher's best friend. So that's what you'll hear when you hear them say pitcher's best friend. You know that they got 2 outs, 2 and 1, basically. You got 2 for the price of 1. Which we love, right, ladies? 2 pairs of shoes for the price of 1, 2 purses for the price of 1, 2 men for the price of 1. Okay. Around the horn. Now, this one's a little more complicated. So when no one's on base after an out, traditionally the ball gets to the catcher. He picks it up and throws it to the third baseman. He tosses it to the second baseman, to the shortstop, first baseman. Then it heads back over to the pitcher. All this is really to do, this started years and years ago, it's just to keep your arm warm. So when you go around the horn, no one's on base, you just toss the ball around everybody and they get to hold it. Isn't that nice? Everyone gets to hold their balls when they're on the field. So if you've got a bag is considered a base, dish is considered home plate is considered home plate. All little terms you might need to know. If the bases are juice or the bags are juice, that means the bases are loaded. It means there's someone on first, second, and third. Bags juice is probably one of my favorite one I'd ever heard. I totally love that term. Especially in this day and age with all of these steroids, the steroid era, I guess, that we have come and tried, I hope we've seen come and go. But anything juiced on the field, I mean, I can come up with a million jokes a day on that one. So if you have to check your swing, you're going to hear a check swing is when a batter is actually going to swing at the ball, but then changes his mind before his bat actually goes across the plate. Once he swings it across the plate, it's considered a strike. If it's 3 strikes, he's out. But if he checks his swing, that means he stopped right before he was actually going to go for it. We know a lot of people who like to stop right before they go for it, don't we? Chin music. Chin music means that you're standing a little too close to the dish or home plate. Typically means that the pitcher is throwing at your chin. It means he's throwing at you to get you to move off of the bag. That's when they say chin music. If you're drilled, you've been hit by a pitch, which doesn't happen very often now. Little side note, if you're hit by a pitch in baseball, you automatically get to first base. Used to be in the olden days that if someone hit a home run off of a pitcher, the next time he came up to bat, they would throw and hit him. Now, because it happens so frequently, now what they do is as soon as that you get hit by a pitch, whether it's intentional or not, you get to claim first base. Somebody's on first base, he's trotting over to second. So it can really cost you in the long run. It's not worth doing. Let's see, if you have a full count, this one's a good one. It's 3 and 2, which remember what we said, good news before bad news? 3 balls, 2 strikes, full count. The good eye. Good eye refers to a hitter who should have swung at something that you usually might swing at, or something that would get him out, but he decides not to swing at a pitch that ends up being a ball. We say he's got a good eye. Grand slam. This is one of my favorites. This is not too difficult, but it's also not too common. Whenever you see one of these, a grand slam, grand salami, any one of those will do. Badge juiced home run, any of that. This all means that bases were loaded and the next guy up hit a home run. So that's a great way to get 4 runs real quick. Heading into pitching, if you hear a heater is a fastball, high heat is a high fastball. Southpaw is a left-handed pitcher. Northpaw is a right-handed pitcher. Passed ball. So if the catcher should have caught the ball that the pitcher threw and he lets it go by him and someone on base moves up, he gets blamed for it and they call it a passed ball. So here's what else it goes with. If it's called a wild pitch, that means it's the pitcher's fault. So basically all you need to know is this. A wild pitch is the pitcher's fault. A passed ball is the catcher's fault. Now, we have a pinch hitter. Pinch hitter is just someone that hits for someone else. Your homie coming in to bat for you. However, once you're taken out of a game in baseball, you can't go back in. Different than football, as we've talked about. So if you've got runners on the corner, it means you have runners on first and third. You'll hear that one a lot. Runners in scoring position means you've got runners on second and third, or second only, or third only. Anytime you're past first base, that you could conceivably score with 1 hit. That's why you're considered a runner in scoring position. So if you stay alive, means that you've been fouling out on a lot of balls. You know, when you hit the baseball and it fouls behind you or fouls to the side, remember the 2 foul lines that we went over? That means that you are staying alive. You foul out, you foul out, you foul a lot, but you're not striking out. So that means you're staying alive. If you're caught looking, you're going to hear this one a lot as well. This is when someone actually is struck out, but he doesn't swing at the ball to get the strike. You know how you can swing at it or look at it, whatever you do, you're going to, if the ball is in the strike zone, it's going to be called a strike. So however you plan to do it is pretty much what you're going to get. However, if you strike out looking and you're caught looking, it means you didn't swing at the ball and it just whizzled right past you in the strike zone and you get an out. Trust me, I'll tell you this. Watching your guys strike out looking or get caught looking is just, it infuriates me more than anything else. Because if you're going to strike out, at least swing the damn bat at the ball. Just try. There are some pitchers that have made their money on getting you to think that the pitch is going to be one thing when it comes out to be something else. That's how guys get caught doing that. They're waiting for a fastball and they get a slider or a sinker or a curve, which we'll go into later. It's really it's complicated and it isn't. However, that's what happens. If you see a guy who looks ridiculous, retarded doing something, that's why. Because he's thinking one thing's coming and something else entirely does. Sounds kind of like life, huh? You're expecting that fastball and a curveball comes? We've all had that happen to us. Now, the warning track. Here's another thing you're going to hear a lot. If you're ever watching a game and you see where the grass ends in the outfield and it turns to dirt, there is a reason for that. It turns into dirt to let the outfielder know that he's about to hit a wall if he doesn't stop running. I've seen it. It is not pretty, especially Wrigley Field, because they have a bunch of ivy, really pretty green ivy, that is blocking a brick wall. So you hit that bad boy running 60 miles an hour, it will hurt and it's gonna leave a mark. It is really bad. We've seen it happen a lot. So if you ever hear them say, ooh, he caught it on the warning track, that means the ball was almost a home run, but he got it on the warning track, which was the dirt, right before you hit a wall. Let's see, rubber match. Rubber match is when there are 3 games in a series. I believe this is a European term for tennis or for other sports they have, but it's when you have 3 games in a series and each team has won, then the 3rd game that's coming is called the rubber match. Also, we talked about this, top of the inning is the beginning of the visitor batting. Bottom of the inning is the beginning of the home team batting. So you get top and bottom. I could go so far with that right now if I wanted to pull out some really fun gay jokes, but I decided not to do that. A sweep is when you win all the games in the series. Most series are 3 and 4 games. Typically, you won't get any more, any less than that. I've never seen any more than 4. Only time I've ever really seen 2 is if they're makeup games due to weather or other issues. I know after September 11th, a lot of games were on hold for like a week. So because of transportation and such. So we had to do a lot of those little kinds of little bunk series, as I call them, just real quick little bumps, just in and out. And then my personal favorite, this will get you happier than a pig in crap, or it will make you very, very sad. This is what we call a walk-off. A walk-off can be a hit or a home run. However, all it's going to do is end the game for you. So it's always at the bottom of the inning. It's always the home team getting it. Whenever it's a walk-off, it's either a home run or a hit, and it ends the game. All right, ladies, I know I went a little bit over on this. I tried to go quick. There's so many terms. I'm actually going to do a second one for us so that we can learn a little bit more about a little bit more terms that we don't use as often, but you're still going to hear a lot. However, I know we're cruising through baseball season, and I wanted to get this to you. Hope everyone's doing great. And remember, ladies, what I always say, as soon as we learn about sports, we will officially know it all. Have a great one.